Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. Karen tried to steal my donut order at a local shop, but after confronting her with the shop owner, she was banned from the store. The second story. The problematic employee will finally leave us. The third story. I quit my job without telling anyone and caused chaos at work. The first story is, that time I got Karen banned from a donut shop. Do I even need a backstory for this? I guess there's a local donut shop run by the sweetest Vietnamese couple, and it's a big hit with the local churches and businesses, and this only happened a few months ago. But this is where I had an encounter with the wild Karen. No real names are being used, obviously. Cast. Me, obviously. Karen. Laura, shop owner. Karen's husband, KH. This took place back in February before lockdown in my state was affected. I was working at a law office at the time, and it was about 7 o'clock in the morning when my boss texted me if I could stop and get some breakfast. I text back asking what they want, and of course they want donuts. I reply that I'll get them on the way to work since the shop was only a 5-minute drive from my house, and the law office another 10 minutes away. I get to shop, I greet Laura, who moved to the United States from Vietnam with her husband back in the 1990s. And let me tell you, Laura and her husband are the sweetest people in the world. They're the kind of people who would bend over backwards for a person. Anyway, Laura and I are chatting up and she mentions her husband was sick. Thankfully not with the virus, but with strep throat, which still isn't fun. We talked for a few more minutes since everyone in the law office had very specific orders, and there were a lot of us who worked in the office. We finally get done, and I ended up with like 4 boxes of orders. Now, during all this time, I didn't see Karen, who was leaning on the front hood of her car. She looked like your typical Karen with the haircut down to the cheap leggings. Laura had offered to take 2 of the boxes to my car just to help me. But as I'm going with 2 boxes in my arm, I point out to Laura that Karen might be coming in, and I didn't want her to take away from her customers. She sighed, muttered something in Vietnamese, and went behind the counter and said to me, "Laura, you be careful, Mary. That lady likes to cause problems." I nod and tell I will. I'm going to my car and ignore Karen since she's on the phone. I place the boxes of donuts on top of my car as I unlock my car. I hear Karen say, "Okay, I'll see you then." Again, I'm in my own little world and not paying attention to her, when I feel that infamous tap on my shoulder. Karen, "Excuse me, that's my order." Me, "No, I don't think so." Karen, "Those are mine. I've been waiting for them. Donut shop delivers and I didn't get mine." Me, "Ma'am, donut shop doesn't deliver." Oh, the irony in my words. I've been coming since I was a kid and they've never done that. Karen, "Yes, they do. Now give me my stuff. I have kids at home. They need to eat." Me putting the boxes in my car and locking the door. I don't care. These are for my work. Karen, "But I paid for those. Go ask Laura, I was here first." Yeah, because that's totally how it works. Me, again, I don't care. I saw you when I came in, but you didn't come after me. If you want to settle this, I have to go in and get the rest of my order. Karen, "You mean my order?" We go back in and Laura had this sour look on her face as Karen entered the store with me. She huffed and came from behind the counter. Laura, "Mary, what did I tell you? Stay away from that crazy lady." Karen, "Crazy lady? I'm a paying customer." Laura scoffed at this. Me, "I tried. She claims I took her order." Laura, "Lady, this is the 2nd time this week you tried to steal other people's food. Why don't you ever come in? I'll give you food." Karen, "But I can't afford it." Laura, "Right, your husband, the big bad lawyer, can afford to come in here every day, but you can't? Get out." Karen, "Well, I can." Me, "Don't say you'll sue. I work for a lawyer's office. Don't think about it." Laura, "You heard her, Mary. Get out before I call my lawyer. I don't want to get nasty, but tell your husband he can come anytime he wants." Karen leaves with a glare. Laura brings the last 2 boxes of my order to my car and explains to me that Monday and Tuesday, that Karen would come and harass customers for their food, claiming that the donut shop didn't deliver her order, and that the order they had was actually hers. She also claimed that her husband was a lawyer, which happened to be true, and was a super nice guy. Before I left, Laura wanted to give me a small coffee as a gift, but I declined since I was running late. This whole thing lasted a whopping 15 minutes, and I had to be at the office at 7:30. Laura tells me to have a nice day and to try to forget what happened. I say that I will. I get to the office and retell my tale to one of the lawyers that happened to Karen's husband. I work in a big office and I don't know everyone yet. I immediately apologized for being rude to her. He brushed me off saying, "KH, don't worry about it. She's been off since our son was born." Their son had been born about 3 months ago and was their 5th kid. Me, I don't want to sound rude, but do you think it could be postpartum? KH. Don't think so. I guess some women think they're so better than some just because they're moms. We chatted for a little while more, and according to Laura, Karen never came back. I just hope Karen is doing okay after her baby was born. The second story is exhaustion, a rage-filled rant. So like always, we're understaffed. We've been understaffed for what seems like the last decade, but it's only been like 6 months. And being the only salaried position that does the FD, I cover a lot of shifts. Thankfully, my GM is finally back from medical leave, so I'm not swamped with admin work as well. This week alone, I covered 5 shifts in 3 days. I covered Monday because someone was sick. I covered 2 shifts on Tuesday because sick and 2:30. I worked my PM shift Wednesday and covered for night audit because sick. On Tuesday, I sent a text in the group after finding out I was going to cover I have to do a double shift. I said, heads up y'all, I can't cover any more shifts this week. I have my own shifts to do and I am sick and not getting better. Apparently our night auditor did not like that because he told her our breakfast attendant, who is my close friend, on his Tuesday/her Wednesday, that he was going to call out 4 hours before his shift on Wednesday night, which is exactly what he did, claiming he was sick and in the hospital. Now, I willingly covered his Wednesday shift because he has an immune disorder that makes it dangerous for him to get sick and I was worried. And then my Thursday night/BA's Friday morning, she tells me what he said, and boy was she peeved. She went off about how that is so disrespectful, and that I rearranged the entire schedule so that he could have Thursday and Friday off. She told me to write his A up and tell him that she told me, as well as that he was being the GM should be covering the FD more. Y'all, she had an effing stroke in late March and just came back. We should be happy she was able to come back. She can't even fully use one of her arms yet. She also told me that problematic new AM shift that temp GM hired had orchestrated a fake emergency to leave work because she was hungover. She told my GM that her mother and daughter were about to be arrested, and she had to run to her daughter's school to sort things out. Thankfully, my other morning FD, who is the GM's favorite, was here helping GM to get everything arranged, so she wouldn't have to use her weak arm. She covered about 4 hours until PM shift could get in. Thankfully, problematic AM put in her 2 weeks' notice. That's one less person who's constantly calling out. She's worked here 1 month, including a 2-week training, and I've covered 4 shifts for her already. NA needs to get his head out of his A. I get that my text could have come off rude, but I'm about that point of having to go to the hospital for exhaustion. I've had a killer migraine that never fully goes away, and all over body pain that also doesn't go away since last Saturday. I'm only human. I can only do so much, and I'm tired. I've worked my A off trying to make this hotel a good place to work, and make the team feel truly like a team. I've gone to bat for every single person on my team. Temp GM wanted to fire NA for calling out a lot, despite the fact that he used to work with NA at another hotel and recommended him to us. I stopped that and gave him another chance. Actual GM wanted to fire problematic AM for calling out last week for being sick and claiming to go to the hospital, but not giving a note like we requested, and I stopped that. If a guest gives them problems, I support my team over the guest. If they make a mistake, I fix it and tell them how to do it correctly for next time. I wrote a 30-page guidebook for the FAQs that I constantly get called about, and it works, but gets ignored by problematic AM and NA. Despite a large number of offenses that should be a write-up, I do verbal warnings because it sucks to get written up. I don't say anything about people regularly being 20+ minutes late to relieve me, besides to give me a heads up if they're going to be late, and I can't even get that. And you know what? The 2 people who have been on my team since before GM had her medical issues understand that I'm working my proverbial D off to make this a good place to work. The PM shift I covered for, she apologized for making me cover for her. And since I rarely have to cover for her, I told her it was all good. She offered to take one of my shifts next week if I needed it. And the last story is, I sneakily handed in my notice yesterday. A few weeks ago, I started looking for a new job. I attended an interview and was told on the spot that the job was mine. I received the contract a few days later, signed and sent it back. Since then, I've kept everything to myself and not told anyone but family and my partner. I like my current job, but I don't like the chain of command. I'm a goods-in team leader and stock controller who reports to both a supervisor and a manager. Neither of those have any involvement in the day-to-day running of the department. I'm the only one who knows how certain things are done on the system. I get no help from them. I've had to teach myself everything I know over the past 5 years. I often get told some things not my job and they're right. It's theirs, but they don't do it. Any improvements I try to make are ignored or spoken about and decided against. Last night, when everyone had left, I typed up my 2-week notice and slid it under the door for HR department. My last official day is January 3rd. The company don't come back from Christmas break until January 4th. They have no time to replace me. I'm on holiday today, but I'm in tomorrow. My personal phone has been blowing up today from my manager and supervisor. All calls have been ignored. Tomorrow should be fun. Update. Also made as a separate post. My work hours are 6 to 2. Another guy works 2 to 10, so we overlap during busy delivery slots. However, both S&M work 9 to 5. I arrive at my usual time and catch up on what I've been left from the previous shift the day before. All is quiet until S&M both arrive together, joined at the hip bang on at 9 a.m. They request a meeting at 10 a.m., but I politely decline as that's when I have my 30-minute break. They request a meeting at 10:30 a.m., and again I decline unless HR and/or upper management are there. 9:15 a.m. I get a phone call from the MD's secretary requesting I go up to his office immediately. I arrive up there to him and the financial director. He oversees the whole of the stock process as a whole. They ask me why it's come to this, and I calmly explain what I mentioned in the first post, and point them to previous times I've told them what I thought of the chain of command. They say that they thought I was just kidding. I say no. On the spot, they offer to change the chain of command and give me full control. I politely decline on the basis that they wouldn't do that if I wasn't right in everything I said. If they knew that, then they should have done something about it without me needing to hand in my notice. I'm then told to come back up at 12 p.m. I continue with work like a professional, doing my usual day-to-day tasks, and helping out the late shift guy with his paperwork from the previous day. All this time, I'm getting daggers from S&M. I just smile and wave. At 12:05 p.m., make them sweat, I go upstairs to the MD and the project director sitting down together. I'm go. They offer me a completely different role, including the purchase of stock, hiring of equipment, cost analysis, and a bit of sales. I politely decline as my new job is sales with better benefits. They take an interest in my new job and start asking about the package I'm leaving for. I have no issue discussing it, so I tell them about the basic company car, commission, and health benefits. They seem quite impressed at what I've been offered. I was when I received the offer. We talk a bit more about everything, and they seem to listen to what I say quite keenly. At the end, there are handshakes, goodbyes, and well wishes. All in all, I'm with them until about 13:15 p.m., and at this point, I've still not had my 30-minute break, so I do just that. I go back in at 13:40 p.m. as I need to get my personal stuff together ready to go. I have a chat with the late shift guy who's laughing at everything I'm telling him about the above. We shake hands and promise to have a beer in the new year. He's someone I'd class as a close friend. At 13:55 p.m., both S&M walk in and demand to know how some of the systems work, as they'll have to cover for me until a replacement is found. Unfortunately, I've just logged out and shut down the computer, and it takes 5 minutes to load everything up before it can be used. No can do, baby doll. I pick up my personal stuff, smile and wink, say goodbye, and saunter out to my car. I hope you love these stories. Subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching and have a good day.